Gotta get, back on the record in cause number 323-774. Case of style of state of Texas versus Tanya Drusilla Gonzalez. We have Ms. Tanya Drusilla Gonzalez, present in court with her attorney, Mr. Wright Kimbler. We also have present in court the state assistant district attorney, Mr. Daniel Boyd, who's sitting first chair, and his assistant, who's sitting second chair, Ms. Julie Maxey. State, are you ready?
State ready, Your Honor.
Defense, are you ready?
We're ready.
At this time, Mr. Bailiff, could you please go get the jury? You may be seated. Let the record reflect that the jury is now present in the courtroom. Mr. Boyd, I think that your witness is yours.
State would call Thistle Wagner.
Ms. Wagner, would you please come forward?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Wagner, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Wagner, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Do.
Ms. Wagner, you may put your hand out. Ms. Wagner, you can have a seat in the witness stand, and you could adjust the mic
I
and the
already did
chair.
it. I already did one.
Ms. Boyd, you may proceed.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Thistle Grace Wagner.
And Miss Wagner, where do you currently live?
I live at 6955 Limerick.
Okay. Is that here in Beaumont?
It is.
And do you work anywhere currently?
Yes, I worked for 3 years at the Waffle House on Down.
Now, do you have any children?
I do.
And,
I have 3 children. Well, one of my children passed away. But I have 2 surviving children.
do you recall the night of May 24th, 2019?
I do.
Okay. And did you go to work on that day?
I had a different job then in the morning and I did go to work on that day.
Okay, where were you working?
I was working for Advanced Marketing Solutions at Walmart.
Okay. And where was that at? Was it
It
Walmart?
was in Lumberton.
Lumberton, okay. Now, do you recall when you left work on that day?
I do.
When was that?
It was in the early, I left work about 4:30 or 5.
Okay. Now, when you left work on that date, where did you go?
my friends had asked me to pick them up at, another friend's house, Kyle's house, to, go to the beach.
And do you know where that was located?
It was on, 105.
Now, did you go to that house?
I did.
And when you got to that house, did you see anyone there?
Yes, my friends were there, and also, Tanya was there, and,
Okay, your friends were here. Who were your friends?
Leslie and her boyfriend,
Leslie,
Johnson.
okay, Leslie Johnson and her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And do you know his name?
Rob.
Okay. Now, you said you also saw Tanya.
Yes.
Who's Tanya? Who do you know to be Tanya?
She was in a relationship with my granddaughter, and I had a little disdain for her. So I tried to cut her a wide berth and stay away from her. I walked around her and walked over and sat with Kyle.
Oh, okay, so you get there, you get to this residence and you see some friends, Leslie, and I guess it was, was there a Kyle there? Or
Yes, Kyle
okay.
was sitting on the porch, so I went and sat with him.
Okay,
Actually, there was only one chair where I stood with him.
okay. And so you go over there, you're standing by Kyle, and you said you saw Tanya there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at that point, what'd you do? Did you just hang around with Kyle?
I
Or
was just standing there talking to Kyle.
Okay,
Do you want me to tell you the whole story? Or?
well, just go a little bit further. What happened after you're standing there with
So I'm
Kyle?
standing there talking to Kyle, and she comes up talking about, you called me from my own number on Facebook, and I just,
And who comes up to you?
Tanya did.
Okay,
and
so
I-
she comes up to you and
Yeah,
asks.
she comes out of her way to come over there and says that I called her from her own number on Facebook. And I was like, do you know how crazy that sounds? And whenever I said that, she had this coffee cup in her hand and she goes like this. And I'm like, you're gonna hit me with the cup? She goes, no, I got my fist. I don't need to hit you with the cup. And so she made
Okay,
this
so
big
she
motion.
comes over there, you're arguing about a Facebook.
We
potentially
weren't
saying-
arguing. She just accused me and I said she sounded crazy.
Okay, and so at that point, you said was she waving a coffee
So
mug?
she has
or-
this cup in her hand and she makes a big motion. She's gonna throw it down, but instead of throwing it around, she brings it back up and just nails me in the middle of the head.
Okay, and were you facing her, or were you walking away, or where? were you
No, we
at
were
that point?
facing each, I was on the porch, kind of trapped in a little, the railing of the porch, and she was just it was only a couple of inches off the ground, so she was right outside the porch,
Okay,
so I'm like, really can't go anywhere from where I was, and
and she approached you?
she came over to me and says, that I called her on her own number on Facebook.
Did you say anything to her?
Oh, yeah, I said, that's, how crazy that sounds? And then she
Did
did
you
this-
threaten her or anything
Oh,
like that?
of course not, no.
Now, do you see that, and so you said she struck you in your head?
Yeah,
Okay,
and when she did, I wasn't fixing to hit her back because she'd already shot my
Objection, Your
granddaughter.
Honor, non-responsive.
Objection sustained.
That's the jury to be instructed to disregard.
Jury, you instructed to disregard the last statement that was made by the witness.
And move for mistrial.
That's denied.
and with regard to that, she comes over there, you were struck in the forehead. Did you have any kind of injuries from that?
I took 4 stitches and I still have a scar from it in the middle of my head.
Okay, and I know it's kind of silly, were you in some pretty bad pain or?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Okay. And as far as that, was there blood, coming out?
Everywhere. She ruined my new work shirt. I had a brand new $30 work shirt. She ruined it.
Okay. Now, so you were struck in the head. What did you do after that point? You're struck in the head. Did you fight back with her? Did you do
Nope, I laughed at her. I told her I was calling the cops.
Okay. So you're calling the cops. And what happened when you said you were calling the cops?
Everybody left. My friends and my supposed friends said, hey, we got warrants. We can't stay with you. I said, and my Kyle, he said, oh, my brother ain't gonna like it if the police come here, you got to go and all this. And
Okay, so everybody leaves at
they
that
all
point?
left with her
And where did you go at that
I
point?
went right next door to the church across the street.
Okay, is that the Anchor?
I had
Church
already
there?
called the police, yeah.
Okay.
And
Did
they-
anybody go with you?
No one went with me. I went by myself. It got dark, it got cold. I was sitting there all by myself, bleeding my blood off.
Okay. And now, did an officer ever arrive?
Yes, he did. And he also called an ambulance.
Okay.
And
Do you as far as, you said Tanya, and do you know her last name?
Gonzalez
Okay. And do you see Tanya in the courtroom here today?
there,
And would you point to her and describe what she's wearing?
what she's wearing,
Yes,
a white shirt with blue stripes and a sweater.
Your Honor, the state would request, the court to recognize that the witness has identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
Now, you went to the church parking lot, an officer arrived? Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay, did you tell the officer what happened at that point?
Yes, I gave him a statement.
Okay, and did you get treated for your injuries?
Yeah, the ambulance cleaned it up a little bit and told me I should go to the hospital. And when I got to the hospital, I got like 4 stitches. They gave me some other clothes to put on. I was just soaked in blood.
Okay, and at no point, during that time, did you try and threaten her or?
No,
Okay. That's what issue.
Mr. Kimler?
Sure.
howdy.
So you were working at Walmart this day,
Yes,
and I guess you got there about what time on your shift
got to work
to work? What time? did you
around
work?
10.
So you work 10 to 4:30?
Yeah, a short shift.
All right. And I guess during that time period, you were communicating with some people and y'all decided to go to the beach? Or had you already decided to go to the beach?
No, they called me while I was at work and said, hey, we've got money, we don't have a car. Can you take us, we'll pay for everything if you take us to the beach. If you meet us at Kyle's house, you can pick us
Okay.
up.
Who called you?
Leslie Johnson.
I'm sorry?
Leslie Johnson.
Leslie Johnson. And are you related to her? Is she just a friend or who is
She
she?
was really just a friend of a friend.
How well did you know her?
Really not all that well.
Not that
I've known
well.
her for a few weeks.
Okay. An acquaintance, I guess, right?
Yeah, more of an acquaintance than a friend.
But it was someone that you were comfortable enough with to share a car with.
Sure.
And to go on I guess I'll say a trip, it's really not a trip, I guess, a sortie maybe to the beach with,
Exactly. Go fish at the beach.
go fish at the beach with. Were you gonna stay overnight?
Yes,
Where were you gonna stay?
in the car. We were gonna stay at the beach.
Stay on the beach, I
Yes.
guess. Did you have tents or how were you gonna? sleep?
We had fishing poles.
Where were you gonna sleep, I guess?
We weren't.
Oh, you were gonna stay
We
up?
were gonna fish.
Well, you could fish and sleep. I mean,
Well, if we.
I don't know how you fish.
We had no tents. We were gonna sleep in the car if we slept.
But the plan was to stay overnight and fish.
Probably. I mean, there was no real great plan, just an idea to go to the beach and fish.
All right, all right. What beach were you going to?
Crystal Beach,
Whereabouts? Where do you fish?
at Crystal Beach,
Yeah, but where at it first do you fish?
on this,
Well, I mean, do you fish at, say, down Swedes Row, or do you fish closer down to the jetties by the ferry landing?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you're not familiar with Crystal Beach?
I'm familiar with it, but I don't guess I'm that familiar. We were just gonna go.
Well, you know
to
where
the beach and
Swede
fish in the-
store
in the
is?
surf.
Where Swede store?
I know where
is?
Sweet Story
Yeah,
is.
then
where
we
we
gonna
used to
fish
go
down
take a
there, or
shower,
we
yeah.
gonna fish
We all
closer?
Yeah,
saw
we're
one
gonna
at a
fish close to
time.
there.
Okay. So you had a destination in mind, then,
Yes.
right? And did she tell you, hey, we've got some other people that want to go, or is this gonna be you and
No,
her?
there was no other people that wanted to go.
So is this gonna be you and her?
Just me and her and her boyfriend,
Okay, what's his name?
Rob.
What do you know his last
I
name?
do not.
And so the plan was you, Leslie Johnson, and Rob were gonna go to the beach and fish
Right,
overnight.
right.
And they didn't have a vehicle, so they were just gonna ride with
They
you.
were supposed to pay for the bait and the drinks and the gas if I paid, if I brought my car and took them up.
Okay, who had the fishing equipment?
I did.
The rods and reels, or
I had a rod and reel, yeah.
just one?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they had their own, I don't know. Doesn't matter, we were just going to the beach.
Well, I thought you said you were going to fish.
I was,
So you had a rod and reel in your car.
I did.
Did you have any bait or any other tackle?
No, they were supposed to buy everything.
And you're just gonna fish from the beach?
Yeah, on the surf.
So you didn't have a kayak or anything to paddle the line
No.
out? You're just gonna
No,
cast?
I just had my car.
So they said, or I guess you talked to Leslie, right?
On the phone.
And Leslie advised you, I'm over at somebody's house.
I'm at Kyle's house.
Kyle, her boyfriend's house.
No,
Oh, Rob is her boyfriend.
yes.
Who's-
Kyle is another friend. He lived with his brother there on 105 where all this happened.
Kyle. And what's his last name?
McGee.
McGee? MCGE?
I have no idea how to spell his name.
Well, I thought you might. How well do you know
About as well as I knew Leslie.
him?
Just
Just
an
an
acquaintance.
acquaintance. So you hadn't hung out with him or
Yeah,
done anything with him?
yeah, he'd been over to my friend's house.
How long?
I
did-
met them all from another woman named Sharon.
I'm sorry?
I met them all from another woman named Sharon.
Sharon.
She was their neighbor.
So how long had you known Kyle?
A couple of months.
And you been to his house before?
Yes,
Knew where it was, knew the
Yes.
location.
yes.
So when Leslie said, hey, Rob and I are over at Kyle's house, can you pick us up from there? There's no red flags or anything to be worried about.
Why would I?
That's my final thing. There's nothing, no concerns, no
I had no
problems.
concerns. I was looking forward to it. I was gonna have fun at the beach.
How many times would you say you've been over to Kyle's house before?
At least 5 or 6.
It would have been the purpose of those visits, just to socialize and hang out and
No, to bring other people over there.
bring people and pick people up, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's kind of on a central spot.
Oh, like a place where a lot of people meet and hang out, I guess,
No,
or-
nothing like that.
What do you mean by a central spot? I guess?
I mean, it's right off the highway.
Oh, geographically.
Yes.
Not socially.
No,
It's on 105?
yeah,
Whereabouts?
my grandson lived 3 blocks from there.
Whereabouts on 105?
Right by 105 and Major, right by where my grandson lived.
Oh, where?
Where my grandson lived, near 105 and Major.
Okay,
My grandson lived on Indian Trail.
right. So the Indian Trail's off of Major, but not 105.
Yes. It's off of Major and 105.
The Indian Trails, what I'm saying is Indian Trail's a little bit before you get to 105, right? And then you're saying they're living in those apartments
It's on the
there?
other side of Major.
So there's a house, he's living in a house. is
He
that
lived in
right?
a house, yeah. His brother's house.
Kyle was living in his brother's house. What's his brother's name?
I have no earthly idea.
You ever meet the brother?
I never did.
So you leave Walmart, I guess the Walmart on Dallin? Or
No, the
Freeland?
Walmart in Lumberton.
What, Lumber? So did you drive down, how did you get there? What route?
I drove down the highway and took 105.
She had to go the back way.
What back way?
Well, I'm just, there's
I
no,
came straight down the highway and took 105 straight to the man's house. There's no back way to it.
well, if I represent to you, there's a way that you can avoid the highway to get
But
there.
I drove down the highway. from
I
Lumberton
don't
to
know,
Beaumont.
Man, I don't know. I'm just wondering what route.
Well, you asked me and I told you twice, but go
How,
ahead.
how long did it take you to get there?
I have no earthly idea, maybe 20 minutes
So you got there about 5 o'clock, right?
in the early evening, yes.
And y'all were gonna leave and go to the beach that day, right?
Right.
And you had all the stuff that you needed to go to the beach?
Yeah, I didn't need anything to go to the beach.
Well, you needed your rod and reel, right?
If I hadn't had it, I'd have still gone.
Well, I mean, did you have?
But yes, I had everything I needed to go to the beach.
You had your rod and reel with you?
Yes.
I don't object, Your Honor. It's been asked and answered.
Well, what I'm
Objection sustained.
sustained is the rod and reel. I don't want to ask her about it.
Asked and answered.
I think
You may
said-
move on.
You said you had your rod and reel with you. So you hadn't decided to go to the beach until they had called you.
At
Walmart.
work.
So you had your rod and reel with you at Walmart?
I always keep my rod and reel with me when I have a car.
So you get there and what do you see when you drive up?
when I pulled into the driveway, I saw her little red car she had.
You would mean
And I
Miss
saw
Gonzalez, I guess. Right?
Yes, and I saw Leslie getting her things out of her car.
Out of Miss Gonzalez's. And they approach her.
Yes, you may.
Might help a little bit if we kind of draw it out. If you would, there's a marker there. Can you draw the house and the street? And you reference Miss Gonzalez little red car? Put that
Yeah, I guess I
there,
could.
and then where you park.
So like, this is 105. That's the house. There's a driveway here. There's a big thing that I guess used to have a dumpster in it, a wooden
Could you
thing.
stand on the other side?
It's not that, no, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't draw that way.
Okay.
But, so there's this dumpster thing that blocked the view. When I came down 105, like, here's the highway. When I came down 105 to Kyle's house, you pull in, I couldn't see the car over here until I already pulled in.
Where did you park? Drive your car.
Okay, she's parked like right here. I pull way up here and park over here. Kyle's over here on the porch. I come walking over here to the porch and stay way away from her. She's over here at the car.
Leslie's at the car getting.
Leslie and Tanya are over here at the car.
Okay. So
And I
you
pulled
see,
way up here and walked over here by.
so you see Leslie and Tanya together. Is that right? You can sit down. So you see Leslie and Tanya together at Tanya. I'm gonna refer you to the last name. That's right. Ms. Gonzalez's car. And Ms. Johnson, they were at Ms. Gonzalez's car. You see them there at the car when you drive up, right?
Yep,
And it appears Ms. Johnson is removing her personal items from Ms. Gonzalez's vehicle. Is that right?
right.
Did it appear that they were engaged in a friendly conversation? And they were, what did you infer from seeing Ms. Johnson and Ms. Gonzalez
I
together?
heard that Miss Gonzalez was dropping Leslie off.
Well, did you think that they might be friends or that there
Well, I
might be
knew
some
they were
sort?
friends.
And you can answer this yes or no. You evidently you knew Ms. Gonzalez before this incident occurred. Is that right?
Yes, I knew her.
And is it fair to say that you were all weren't on best terms? You didn't like each other, right?
I wasn't real happy that she shot my granddaughter.
Objection, non-responsive, Your Honor. I asked the jury to be instructed in this regard.
Okay. That objection will be sustained. And Ms. Jury, please disregard the last statement that was made by the witness.
I move for mistrial.
That will be overruled.
Ma'am, if you could only answer the question I asked you, all right? I'm asking you.
I did answer the
I asked
question.
you
you
a
asked.
simple question. You
You asked me-
and Ms. Gonzalez do not like each other. That's a yes or no question.
That's a kind of a complicated question because
Do
I.
you like her or don't you like her, man? It's not complicated. Do you like her or not like her? All right?
I don't think she's an evil person. I don't hate her.
Do you like her or don't you like her?
There's things I like about her and there's things I don't like
All
about
right,
her.
fair enough.
So that's not a clear-cut question.
Now, when you saw Ms. Johnson with her, did that cause you any problems as far as
Yeah, I did.
continuing to relate to Ms. Johnson, to hang out with Ms. Johnson?
I didn't like it. I started to leave and wait till she left, but I thought, well, she won't mess with me. And I went in and pulled up further away from them, thought she'd leave me alone and I'd leave her alone, but it didn't work out that way.
Did you get out of your car?
I got out of my car,
Where was Ms. Johnson when you got out of your car?
at her car,
Where did you go when you got out of your car?
to the porch.
As you indicated on the picture, is that
Yeah,
correct?
way on the other side of the house from where they were.
And who was on the porch at the time? Kyle. Anybody else?
No,
So Rob was nowhere to be seen.
yeah, I don't know where he was.
What did you do when you got to the porch?
Started talking to Kyle. How
Where
you
was
doing?
Miss Johnson when you
She was
started
getting
talking?
her things out of Tanya's car.
When did she start walking up, or did she?
She never did start walking out. Not until after all this stuff happened.
So Ms. Johnson stays at the car, is that right? at Ms. Gonzalez's car, correct?
Yes,
And you're saying that Ms. Gonzalez approached you while you're standing on the porch,
mm-hmm,
and that's when all of this happened, right?
yes,
How high is the porch?
it's just a few inches. Since she's so much taller than me, it made us both about the same height, as a matter of fact.
Okay, and you're about the same, this is 2.5 years ago, right?
Yes.
You're relatively the same size now as you were then?
No, I've gained about 40 pounds since then.
Okay, same height, obviously, right?
Obviously. I'm 58 years old. Haven't
And s-
grown.
And so you're standing on the porch, she's standing on the ground, and since you're a little bit shorter than her, she's a little bit taller than you, you're roughly the same height. Is that right?
Right.
And you engage in this conversation, and she hits you with the cup in the forehead. That's it?
Yeah.
Did Rob see that?
I don't know who saw it. I know Kyle saw it,
Or
but
Kyle
I don't
saw
think
it?
any of the rest of them did.
So Kyle was on the porch when this happened and saw it, is that
Yes.
right? And you have an opinion on whether Leslie saw it?
I don't think she did. I think she heard it, but
So the 4 people that would be witnesses to this, possible witnesses to this, would be Kyle, you, Ms. Gonzalez, and Leslie. Anybody else? Anybody else?
no,
Okay. You have to answer out loud. The court reporter has to take it in. After she did that, you didn't respond in any way? You didn't try to hit her or fight
no.
her?
Well, yeah, I responded. I laughed at her. I told her she was glad. I was glad she did it, and I was calling the cops, but I wouldn't hit her back for the world.
So you had your cell phone with you? or
And
not?
I called the cops
From where? From the
from
house?
Kyle's house.
And 911 call?
Yes,
So there should be a 911 recording of this,
I
right?
suppose.
What did you tell the 911 operator?
That she hit me in the head.
Give them your location,
Yeah, and I needed a cop.
and then you hung up?
Yeah.
And then you were
They
told to
said
leave?
that an
Then you were
officer would
told,
be there shortly.
then you were told to leave, is that right?
Kyle, I wasn't told to leave, but Kyle was very upset. He said, my brother's not gonna like it if the police come here, and this and that and everything. I said, I'll tell you what, Kyle, I'll wait for the police next door. Because they couldn't find that place very easily anyway, so I had already told him I was right across the street from that church.
And that's what
So
you
what-
did?
Yeah,
Okay. You left?
and actually, some cop saw me, walking over there, and she saw me bleeding, and she called some more cops, and, because she was real worried about me.
Do you remember Officer Froman? Do you remember an Officer Froman?
I don't remember any of the officers' names,
Okay, you remember a tall,
but I do remember, well, I don't remember any of the officers' names. The guy was, had dark hair. It was dark too. Because it was light when it all happened, but it got dark by the time the cops got there.
you don't remember speaking to a tall, blonde officer, thin?
Yeah, the officer was tall and thin.
Okay, I'm sorry,
There was a tall, thin officer there.
Blonde-
There were
blonde hair?
several
Blonde
officers
hair?
there.
blonde, you don't remember?
Yeah, had on.
All right. Was that the first officer you talked to, or who was the first officer you talked to?
The first officer I talked to was a lady officer that came up in a car and asked me if I was in trouble. And I
Okay,
said, well, that the police were already on the way.
so is your
She said, well,
understanding,
I'm gonna keep my lights on here to help them find you.
so is your understanding she wasn't dispatched, she just happened to be driving by?
Yeah, she was an officer that just happened to be driving by, and I told her that the police were already on their way, and she said, well, I'm gonna stay with you and leave my lights on so they can find this spot. It was pretty dark.
Did she stay there until the other officers arrived?
She did, and then she left.
But you didn't give her a statement?
No,
Did you try to give her a statement?
no, she said she was just gonna stay there with her lights on until the officers got there, so nothing else happened to me.
Do you know if she had a dash cam going or a camera recording anything?
I doubt it. She was in her personal vehicle.
Okay, she wasn't in a police car. I thought you said
No.
she had her lights.
No, I didn't say she had her lights on. I said she left her headlights on.
Absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Boyd?
Now, Ms. Wagner, of those people that would have witnessed this, Mr. Kimler asked, there would have been a Leslie Johnson, then Tanya, it would have been, Kyle, you said, and possibly Rob. Did Rob or Kyle or Leslie, did they go over there to that parking lot with you?
They did not. They all said they had warrants and they couldn't stay. They said, we're sorry, this, we can't stay. We got warrants, and they all left with her.
Okay, and you said you called the cops, you respectfully, you left after Kyle didn't want you over there.
Right, Kyle was so worried his brother was gonna be upset if the cops came there.
And now that's right after you got smashed in the forehead, right?
Right.
With the coffee mug, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
So maybe not everything is crystal clear from that night necessarily.
well, it was a long time ago.
Okay.
I really didn't think it was ever going to court. I don't,
Fast forward.
I was just
Another
forgotten.
Nothing further.
Okay. Ms. Wagner, the rule has been invoked, and what that simply means that you are ordered to leave the courtroom and not re-enter unless instructed to do so by the bailiff or me. You are not to discuss the case or your testimony with other witnesses or anyone else except the attorneys. You are not to read any report or comment on the testimony or evidence in this case. Any witness violating this rule or this instruction is subject to being held in contempt of court. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Ms. Wagner, you are excused.
I can leave now?
Yes, state, is she excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, she's excused?
She's excused. I'd like her available for recall if I need her.
Okay, so if you're available for recall,
I would just ask today because.
That's them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she'll just have her hang. That's good.
Okay.
okay, just have a seat in the hallway.
So I can't leave yet?
Not yet.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Just wait.
Mr. Boyd, you can call your next witness.
Your Honor, state would recall Officer Jacob Froman.
Jacob Froman. Mr. Froman, you've come forward. Mr. Froman, you've already been sworn in. You can have a seat in the just mic. You was previously sworn in.
I advise the state that I withdraw my objection to the DVD since she's available for cross-examination on it.
Okay, so that was state's exhibit number 1. You have no objections?
Okay.
Okay, state's exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Boyd, you may proceed.
And Officer Froman, now, let's talk district. Now, Ms. Wagner had advised you, that you said that Tanya Gonzalez had struck her in the forehead, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, were you able to identify Tanya Gonzalez?
Yes, sir.
And how were you able to identify?
Miss Wagner knew Miss Gonzalez as an acquaintance. We were able to pull up her driver's license photo and say, hey, is this the lady that hit you? And she confirmed it.
And do you see Ms. Gonzalez in the courtroom here today?
Yes, sir.
And could you point to her and describe what she's wearing?
She's wearing a very,
Your Honor, please let the record reflect that the witness identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
Now, as far as your interaction with Ms. Wagner, that was captured on your body cam, is that correct?
yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. Your Honor, the state would request to play the body cam video for the jury at this time. State's Exhibit 1.
You may proceed.
Okay. So now my friend had called me and said, no, come in with someone to go to eat. Yeah. So there was that perspective. Okay. And, so I got there and, when I got there, I pulled in, I didn't notice that Tony woman was there. This woman, she went from my son's neighborhood over by the churches. So I wasn't working to be where she was, you know? Right. I go to talk to him. So I just pulled in. Away from her, you know, as I tried to come, she just went right over her head. She started saying something about it. I had called her phone. I called her phone, she was on the phone number or something like that on Facebook. Okay. And I'm like, craziest thing alone, you know, and I started to walk to my car. Right. And when I did, she just hauled up and punched me with a cup in her hand, like. Okay. And I didn't hear it. And I was like, I said, this is it. I said, that's it for me. I didn't try to hit him back, nothing, because, but when I was a young, 55 years old, when I was a young one, when I was international period champion, I wore no, when I was national boxer, but I didn't fight. I had nothing about it. And I was from the gun that hurts. He said, I'm going to everyone. I worked, I was 18 grand, Jordan. I don't deserve this. I was going to be home tonight. And no, and I can't get home.
Where do you stay at?
I live over here.
What's that?
Like Birmingham or who was the guy at the shoe store is? I live right across the street from the diabetic shoe store.
Okay.
And when they were having, they said, I don't know. I said, I'm calling the law. You're not gonna ever do this again. Yeah, and then, so they all like, well, we got words, we gotta leave it this or whatever. They're like, I'm scared. I'm like, I'm not scared. She's yelling at me. I'm trying to walk away.
How many times did she hit you?
Just once.
Just one time? What hand was she holding the cup in? Was it what kind of cup was it?
The coffee cup?
Like a coffee
Yeah.
cup? Did the cup break at all, or?
I'll tell you what, I mean, like I said, I was a boxer once, and it made me punch jump when she hit me. So it was a sacrifice, you know?
Yeah. Was it in the front yard?
In the driveway of that house. And then I went to the police. Kyle's like, you can't go bleed, my brother's gonna get me out. This man made me come out of his driveway. And the police, it's got dark.
Do you need EMS?
I know, shit, I know, but it's,
I'll tell you what,
that's costing. I mean, they can get out of the hospital, I think, but I don't know.
at the end of the day, the choice is yours now. Are you want to press charges on?
I do want to just cover all this, but
We'll take care of that.
that's what I want. You want to know what?
So you need a ride to your house?
No, my car is right here at one time.
Okay.
And I first had to pick up a job because they said it made me punch drunk, you know what I mean? And it, like somebody's under my neck right here, like, I don't know.
Like I said, I can always call EMS for you, or if you just want to wait and go to the hospital later, it's up to you. But you do have a pretty gnarly issue.
What if I get here or what?
It's, I don't really know what they do.
We'll get it fixed, and we'll get it reported.
So,
Back in his church, one more church.
do you have your ID?
Yes.
Okay. If you want to go ahead and just stand in front of my car, I'll be with you in a second. I have to grab that cord. Yeah, be messing around too. Last version before this week. So we need parking lot of the Anchor Church on the 105.
Okay.
And Officer Froman, on that video, I mean, the rest of it pretty much is that EMS showing up and kind of treating her, and that's pretty much the end of it. Now, Ms. Wagner had stated that there was a Leslie Johnson, a Rob, we don't know his last name, her boyfriend, Leslie Johnson's boyfriend, and a guy named Kyle. While you were at the Anchor Church, did anyone come over there? Did a Leslie Johnson or a Rob or a Kyle come over, contact you and give you a statement or tell you what went on?
No, sir, I only spoke with Ms. Wagner.
And at any point, did anyone by those names come and give you a statement or let you know what's going on?
No, sir,
Are you aware of any of them contacting the police?
I'm not aware.
Pass it.
Mr. Kimmel?
How far away were you from the residence where this allegedly happened when you were taking the report?
I'm actually not sure of the distance. I never went to the house itself. She told me it was the house that was close to the church. If I had to assign a distance, it'd probably be, 100 yards or so.
Okay. You had your overhead lights on?
Yes, sir.
Councilors,
Mr. Floyd? Okay. Mr. Froman, you can step down. May this witness be excused?
yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you excuse, and Ms. Officer Froman, you're still under the rule. Okay? You have a blessed day.
Yes, how you doing? I'm not gonna play it.
State ready, Your Honor.
Okay. The state has arrested. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, the jury, we're gonna take a break at this time. So you can stand and just please follow the bailiff. Okay. This time the court will be in recess.